Greetings and welcome to week 5 of Intro to Addictions. We're about a third of the way through class already. I hope it's working for you. I hope you're finding it stimulating and interesting and educational and you're getting everything out of it that you hoped you would get out of it. Between our two books this week, the main topic is uppers and downers. I can remember, oh God, you guys are so tired of war stories. Back in the day, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, um, before I even got into any kind of police work or anything, the big thing, the big drug issue, the big drug abuse issue, was prescriptions, uppers and downers. A lot of people dying from overdoses. The popular downer back in the day were barbiturates, and there's a very slight tolerance. There's a very little difference between a therapeutic level and a lethal level. And you mix it with alcohol, and we were losing all kinds of famous people to some pretty serious drug overdoses. Stimulants, amphetamines. The hot topic back in the day was housewives. The doctors would prescribe them. They'd go in. Oh, geez, I'm tired. Doctor would prescribe them to amphetamines so they could zoom around the house and vacuum and take care of the kids and do the dishes and wash the dog and take care of the house and all the things women did back in the day. And again, they would get hooked on them. Very, very easy to abuse those drugs and to get addicted to those drugs. Nowadays, we tend to think illegally. Again, stimulants, huge methamphetamine addict. Seems like every state in the union wants to claim they're the meth capital of the world, and their meth problem is worse than any of the other states. You look inside the states, and all the counties are fighting that their county's the meth capital of the state, and they need the funding and the extra manpower and stuff. Um, Meth might have peaked, it might not have also, but it might have peaked. It seems like we were taking down, well, again, back in the day, we were taking down a lot more labs. A lot more labs were blowing up. It was not very long ago that if you were going to have an illegal meth lab, you had to be a chemist to make this stuff. You'd have to get somebody with a degree to go back in your chicken coop and your kitchen and cook up some meth. And they had to the temperatures were terribly important, and the times you stirred this and the times you stored that and the times you mixed these two things together, very important, or the place would explode. It'd take down the building. Anymore. Then we developed a cold method. We developed a car method. Used to be you could make it in a trunk of a car. You could make it in a hotel room. Now you make it in a Pepsi bottle, in a 2-liter bottle. So the way to make it has definitely changed over the years. Heroin, again, we talked about we had some discussion last week about how heroin, again, is making a comeback. I think I said this is like the third comeback that I'm aware of just in my career. Heroin will get very, very, very big, very popular. Lots of people hooked and using it. Pendulum swings the other direction, usage goes down. Pendulum comes back up, people start using it again. So it seems to swing back and forth on a pretty normal cycle. It comes back every X number of years. What we're going to be discussing, a little bit in this, so the book, your text this week will be discussing the medical, um, the psychological, what happens to your body again. Um, Again, more of the medical model of addiction and how uppers and downers affect your body. And then off of that, I have an additional reading. It's a couple of years old now. I always thought it was a good one though. It was about it's an editor of an online magazine, and he's going to try this drug. Don't do this at home, boys and girls. Um, that's prescribed to keep people awake. It's normally prescribed to, if you can't stay awake, if you're working weird shifts, if there's just something off, something's going wrong with your life and you're anxious about something in the moment and you don't get any sleep, this helps you stay awake during the day then, so you don't crash your car or drop a log on somebody at work or whatever it is you do. Very, very, very popular with students and entertainers and people that want to be right on the edge and really smart and working all the time um, is the same prescription. And so he started to try it. Kind of a chicken. He says he's never smoked pot in his life or anything. He's not a real drug taker. So even instead of the normal usage, he broke it in half. But he was amazed. He was on his game. And it's very, very, very popular for students to be doing that. So this is the question that I want you to write back to me this week. Um, what's the difference? What's the difference between a student using any number of different smart pills that are out there to keep their edge, to let them do homework 24/7, to always keep them on their game, and some meth addict at home, some speed addict at home? What's the difference? Explain it to me. Um, we can discuss it too on the line, so kind of get your things going back and forth. So the fix book, the yellow book, which thank you. I'm anxious to see that a lot of you are using that in some of your writings. The question that it's offering this week, kind of the questions, last week in the textbook, the whole subject was, drugs effects on your body. How does it affect you physically? How does it affect you mentally? Get down to the chemical, biological level. I mean, what does addiction and drug abuse do to the body? Well, this week in the fix, they're just discussing the chapter. The topic is of the chapter, is addiction even a disease? I mean, is it? And with the broader terms that he's looking at, I mean, it's one thing to say, gee whiz, I'm hooked on heroin, and if I don't get it, I go through withdrawals, and I sweat, and I puke, and I shake, and there's obviously some physical signs there. Uh, as we discussed last week, I would argue there's people out there that if they don't carry their iPhone with them everywhere they go, they start getting the shakes and sweating, and they get all anxious and mad, and they got to run back and hold it in their hand. Um, but is this really a disease? It sounds psychological, sounds mental. But his question is addiction a disease? The 12-step programs, a lot of the addiction recovery places treat it as a disease. So that's going to be the question this year. So enjoy week 5. Um, I think good job everywhere. I can't think of anything real pressing else that I was going to bring up. So if there is, crank me out an email. Let me know. Get in touch. Thank you.